So we're going to start out with a recap of the first episode. So if you haven't had a chance to watch it, please make sure to go back and watch it, because this next recap won't make sense unless you watch the first episode. So go watch the first episode. So I wanted to kind of review. If you watched the last session, we kind of ended off talking to Janice about her communication and her relationship with her parents. And just for anyone who watched that, we actually talked to Janice for a good hour after the session recording ended.
Hour and a half. Okay,
an hour and a half.
minutes.
So there was a lot
of 90 minutes.
Right. And there was a lot of work that was done with Janice, and we heard that there was 2 other coaching sessions that happened after that as well to help Janice kind of work through what's going on for her. So I really wanted to check in with you and find out what the follow-up is and how you've been doing and what's been going on with that whole feeling.
Sure. Okay. Yeah. Thanks for asking and following up. So yeah, 90 minutes on top of the show or whatever we are calling this. And then I had a session that afternoon that was an hour, and then one the next day. And mind you, like, they were for completely different reasons, like business-ish related. And then, like Kusum mentioned on the first call or episode, like, in coaching, you just tend to address what comes up. So obviously what came up in our session was present in my other sessions. And I was just wanting to dig a little bit deeper. But no, I mean, I really appreciated you all allowing me to talk through that, or giving me the space to talk through that. So many things have been coming up this week, and I know I DM'd you all and sort of said I felt like a ginormous block had been dislodged, and I really meant that. And I don't even really know what that means yet. All I can say is that is literally like the feeling I had energetically after that call, and just the few days or this last week since that. So I could just feel like emotions going through me, and I don't, like, what is that? Literally like 3 extra hours of coaching or talking through that's not even my own time contemplating, reflecting, or journaling or meditating on what has come up. So I guess one thing I do want to bring up is that, most of the benefits or the work in coaching, or even the work that we just love to joke about, or if you want to hate on people who always say I'm doing the work, like, it legit is, you're literally always doing it. And it's like, once you kind of unpack one thing, there's something else, it leads you to another thing that you need to unpack. So I think for me, the biggest realization that I had was just that I am hard on myself. I kept sort of saying, and I don't know if this was in the part that you all actually saw, or this happened in the 3 hours after, but I kept saying, like, I feel like I've done all this work on, seeing family as perfect, or, like there's nothing wrong with them, but which is true. And so that always leads me to be like, well, what's wrong with me? Like, I don't know, but someone mirrored that I had said, well, what's wrong with me? Like, what do I need? What am I judging myself for? And what came up was, one of my core values is communication and connection. And somewhere deep in there, I am sort of judging myself or seeing myself as failing at like making this connection or having this ideal communication with my family, which, you know, the huge block that was dislodged was like, I mean, I was like, every day this week I've been like, oh, what are you making? Or like, what, like this morning I was like, good morning, see you later. You know, like little things that I'm like, it's like, it was, you know, not that, I mean, I don't want to say like it's all me, but it was, you know, it's just like, I don't know what that is yet exactly. That's like still the work of unpacking, like where did I come up with this idea that I have to have this perfect communication style with my family. Like the truth is, like, you know, we don't fight, we don't argue, like there's nothing like wrong there. I'm just like in my own like head about how it's not as deep as I want it to be, but like what does that even mean? So I think that's just the surface for me, you know. That's just the surface. That's all I can kind of go with to start. I don't know, does that answer your question? I just felt like
definitely.
that was a 10-minute explanation.
No. No, I think it's good to demonstrate the fact that with coaching, the work doesn't just happen in the session. The work happens after. And even I had, from our last episode, I had my own reflections, and I reached out to Talia and I was like, okay, we got to talk ego, man, because this is messing with my head. So we've got to chat next week or this week to talk about it, because a part of us, I think, are all reflectors, and we're always going to think about like what was said. And like you said, something will spark something that'll just snowball into something that you're like, okay, wait, I got to deal with this. So it's good. It's good to kind of talk about that and help people understand that even though you may leave a coaching session being like, well, I didn't really know big aha moments happen, that doesn't necessarily mean that they won't happen.
Yeah. And I would say that was a huge aha for me. And like for me, it was such a relief or release because, you know, I do feel like I have sort of been trying to like figure out, or like I could just feel like, you know, Talia talked about, you know, the energetic shifts, and I am so much like that sort of person. I'm very much like, how does it feel? Go with my gut, da 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 da. And really, like, I don't know what was said or what clicked, but for me, something clicked, and I was like, oh my gosh, you know, it's so cliche, but it's like you are your own block. And I totally, like, for whatever reason, that just like clicked. And you could say after all these years of doing the work, I'm like, finally. But that's again just the surface. It's like, okay, now I have some sort of idea and label. And I think another thing to bring up is like it presents itself as one thing, and then you just got to keep digging, delayering, unpacking even more. So now I have a new thing to work on.
That is brilliant, Janice.
Thank you.
I love what you said. And quickly to highlight to everyone that's watching this is that she herself is a coach. She's been doing the work for several years, right? She's a yogi. Just goes to show that, like she was saying, the work never stops. Even if you are a coach, it took her 5 of us plus 2
I
other
feel like you could easily say like this has been a 15, 20 year sort of thing. And it's like, it really is like, no matter how aware you think you are, like it won't come up until you're ready for it, you know? And I think that was, now that I say that, that's probably like the most clear message that I could share is like, you won't hear it, you won't hear something, you won't feel the shifts, like you won't whatever, anything in that related to that until you're ready to deal with it or be presented with it. So I guess I'm ready now.
Thank you for sharing this. And I wanted to kind of also highlight that, well, thank you for taking the hot seat and like dealing with all of us, being vulnerable and opening up.
Yeah.
But I also want to bring, like, kind of highlight the value of watching that conversation, because like I wasn't coached, but I have similar kind of issue with my parents, and going through the conversation with you and like watching others asking you those questions helped me to kind of reinforce my faith in that energy exchange that I shared. And I just kind of realizing that last week I had another breakthrough with my family, and like I had because I'm kind of ready to move on and telling my full-time job that I'm quitting. And but so I shared this with,
seriously.
Done.
I shared this with my parents, and they freaked out, and they were like started imposing their fears on me, and I felt this because they started talking about stability, that my business is not there yet, all that BS. Which like I understand from their point, but kind of my point is that I was able to listen to them. I wasn't like, no, like you don't understand me, and like shutting the door, so to say. I was just present there listening. Okay, I see your point, but I was strong in my vision, so I was able to kind of confront this and just deliver my message, and we left the conversation there. And then yesterday I spoke with my dad again, and he told me that he started researching what coaching is.
Stop it.
And I was like, wait, what? So again, just like to highlight that those conversations are so valuable. Even like not being coached, but experiencing, like watching this, observing, and trying to reflect on the same questions was helpful to me on this like energetic level. So thank you all for like coaching Janice and affecting me too.
I also want to point out one other thing, which is that coaches don't have to be perfect in what they're doing. So as Natalia said, she was able to question Janice, but she was also able to take out lessons for herself. So it's not like she has it all figured out and she's telling Janice what to do, or guiding her through what she went through. It's just about your own journey, and you don't have to have it all figured out in order to coach another person.
Called creative process.
Yeah. Creative. Wow. Thank you for that. How do we transition
Janice,
to?
So quickly, to also bring back attention to the previous topic, was that, you know, the biggest shift that happened for you, correct me if I'm wrong, was just being able to define what this relationship means for you versus what you thought it was supposed to be, right? Because of whatever you've seen around you, or because of whatever you've been told that this is how a relationship should be. Would you say that that was like the biggest shift for you?
Oh man, I think woman. Oh, that woman. You guys. I got a buzzer for us. I got a buzzer for all of our uninclusive languaging. So that's my surprise for you all. So I'll buzz myself. But woman, I think there were just too many big shifts, I feel like, or little shifts that added up to a big one. But okay, your question was, what I heard there was like some sort of comparison, or like
redefining what your relationship means to you with your parents?
Yeah, I think I still need to like redefine that, or like you know, yeah, I need to define that for myself again. Again, that's like all this like work that comes up that I'm like, okay, I'm gonna do that. I think my biggest thing was realizing like, oh my God, I am comparing, or I am judging myself for comparing me to even just that realization that I was doing that, you know, that you all mirrored to me that, oh my gosh, like I highly value communication, and here I am, I can't communicate with my loved ones or something, and that I deep down am like, whatever, like angry at myself for that, or judging myself, or feel like I failed that. Like, I mean, that's the other thing about coaching is like all these words or emotions come up, and I kind of have to work through which one it really is, because I'm not even sure yet. But yeah, I definitely, and I think like that energetic shift, you know, I really was just like, dude, I'm just, hi, like, I mean, it's just like I could feel like how much lighter I was about it. Like it wasn't like I'm forcing myself to speak in their language, you know. It was like we're all like coexisting, you know, together, or what I want to co-create this relationship with them, you know, and that's part of it, like speaking their language. It's been fun. Now I'm like having fun with it, and that's another big thing is that energetic shift is I don't even really know what that meant for me in my body, like what it is to feel light and fun with them when I can do that with you all and everyone else, you know? So I think that was like the biggest shift.
Awesome.